laughing at fat people should be treated as seriously as racism and sexism, a leading obesity expert has said. Dr. Sarah Jackson says the law should protect people against weight discrimination in the same way it prohibits singling out people based on their age, gender or race. I'm not sure making it illegal seems very harsh, but I do think that it's a very easy, cheap shot to make fun of people being overweight. You don't really hear it, but you don't hear comedians making jokes about anorexic people or people who are very thin. But it's a very cheap gag to make a joke about a fat person. So I think we should all be mindful of it, and I think there's sometimes less sympathy because people think, well, it's something that you could change. But a lot of people who are very overweight often have some psychological reason that they're struggling with their weight, and I do think it's very easy to make fun of them. Making it illegal, I think, where does that stop? You know, if you then say something about the ginger hair, should that be made illegal? We've got bandy legs. We can make it illegal. You eventually won't be able to say anything about anybody.
I think it is very important to, first of all, acknowledge the fact that any form of bullying is wrong. You know, anything like that is wrong. But I do think as a society we are much less sympathetic when it comes to people being overweight, and I think our attitude towards it is the fact that it's a result of overindulgence or greed. That's how we view it. And if the suggestion is to put it on par with racism and sexism. You're born whatever colour you are, you're born the sex you are, but we believe, I believe anyway, we believe as a society that weight is self-inflicted.
But a lot of it is.
Yeah, I mean, Jamila is right, but let's be brutal about this. I get up in the morning and I've got a job lot of sympathy for the day. I go through the day and I'm feeling sorry for all sorts of people. And where obese people who've eaten themselves into that state come on that list, frankly, I've run out by then.
But then you don't know if they've eaten. I mean, if you're sitting next to somebody on the bus who's obese,
well, I wouldn't be getting able to get my bottom on that seat, would I?
And you wouldn't be feeling sorry. But you don't know why they're obese. Could there be some deep psychological problem?
Exactly, and I think. You see, when I've watched these documentaries, and I'm talking morbidly obese, you know, they have these documentaries, don't they, about people are 40-odd stone and all that. And I have this row with my husband, actually, because his attitude, like yours, is, you know, well, just stop eating pies type of thing. And I'm saying, do you honestly think that person that is stuck in that bed, wakes up every morning and wants to be like that? That is definitely a mental health issue. But I think morbidly obese people, if you see someone on telly that's anorexic or suffers with any form of eating disorder that causes, you know, being extremely thin, and you get people going, oh, that's a terrible shame and she needs help. But whenever it's somebody that's overweight and certainly morbidly obese, it's just make fun out of, well, they've inflicted it on themselves, they don't deserve any sympathy, they shouldn't get any help on the NHS, they shouldn't get this. And I think, like you, I think it's an easy form of bullying, and I can say it because, you know, my weight's been up and down all my life, and any comment I get or anybody that's trying to hurt me, it always aims at my weight, whether it's a magazine cover or certain people on social media. It's always, yeah, well, you're really fat, and it's you know, it's always to do with weight. And I think, I do think it's a form of bullying, and I don't think it should be made illegal. That's ridiculous, because like you said, we won't be allowed to say anything. And yes, you have to get a backbone and go, do you know what? If you're that type of person, it shouldn't affect me.
But at the time you could have made a racist comment and it wasn't illegal.
You can't ignore the fact we're becoming so politically correct as a society that you won't be able to make a comment about anybody, about anything. I think it's gone too far the other way. And also, night after night, on television, we've got documentaries about morbidly obese people, which you are watching, which is just the equivalent of the Romans and the gladiators. Chuck a few slaves in the room and we'll all have a laugh at these disadvantaged people. I mean, we don't have to watch the programmes, we don't have to make programmes about them. And also, there is an easy way
Can't you watch them with a bit of empathy? I don't watch them wanting to take the mick out of people.
I know it's going on. Life's too short. I'd rather watch a programme that is giving me some input rather than the spectacle of a sad person who might, I agree with you, have psychological problems. But I think it goes back to the government and the food industry being in cahoots. They won't tax sugar, they won't tax fatty foods, and all sorts of basic things that could be put in place to help people not eat the wrong food and the fattening food just aren't happening.
No, but I agree with that, but in the meantime, should we all stop making fun of fat people? I mean, I agree.
I'm not making fun
people
of them.
need
I'm just
educating the food industry.
Being asked to feel sorry for so many people every day. We've got to get a grip and say we've got to like ourselves. We've got to start with liking ourselves, treating ourselves with respect, and then if we've got any leftover sympathy, all right, obese people, you've got it.
How about treating each other with respect, though? You're saying that, you know, we're becoming so politically correct and we're not allowed to say these things. Why would you want to say horrible things to other people? For me, I feel that we need to treat each other better.
But that's we've got Al Murray on in a minute. Al Murray's politically incorrect. Al Murray doesn't go through the long rinse cycle every time pub landlord tells a joke.
Yeah, but I think if you offend and upset people, then you should, you know, you should actually make some sort of adjustment.
On that basis, Jamila, I won't get out of bed in the morning on the basis that during the day I might offend someone.